Hey math kids, today we're going to talk about system of equations again. This time we're going to talk about the elimination method. It does the same thing that substitution does, just in a different way. And for some equations, it's easier. Okay, so when we're set up like this, see how our x's line up, our y's line up, and then these constant terms line up? If we have something like this, almost always, elimination is going to be easier. Now what we need to do is we need to look at the x's and say, what could I multiply one of those by to turn it into the opposite of the other one? So for example, we know that if we multiply 3 by 2, it's going to become a 6. But we want it to be the opposite, so we would have to multiply by a negative 2. So one option is to multiply the top by negative 2, or this top equation. Now, because our y's already have opposite signs, I'm going to say that that's going to be a little bit easier. So to turn this 2 into a 4, all we'd have to do is multiply everything by 2. And then they would be opposite. It would be 4 and negative 4. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to multiply every piece of the top one by 2. And I'm just going to write it down here. So I get 6x. And then I get positive 4, and then I get 14. Now, I'm not going to worry about this one anymore. I'm going to now just add. So 6x gives me 12x. Add these, they cancel. And then add these, and I get 12. Okay? So now I have the equation 12x equals 12. I know it's spaced kind of weird, but all I need to do is divide both sides by 12, and then I get x equals 1. Okay? Now, just like in substitution, we're going to take that first answer and plug it into any of them. I'll plug it into this one. So I get 6 times 1 minus 4y equals negative 2. Once again, it doesn't matter. Either of the originals would have worked. 6 times 1 is 6. And then I'm going to subtract 6. So we get negative 4y equals negative 8. Divide by negative 4. And then y equals 2. Negatives would cancel. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Alright, just like on substitution, we're going to write our final answer as an ordered pair. Once again, that tells us where we cross. So if I were to type these into Desmos, so I'm going to type in the originals. And the nice thing about Desmos is you don't have to solve for y. If you use something like a TI-83 or a TI-84 graphing calculator, a lot of the times they force you to do the algebra to solve for y. But like I said, Desmos is nice. Okay, we got the answer 1, 2. Once again, the answer is where they cross. And so if we go back here, we see that we got 1, 2 as well. Okay. Now we're going to use the same method right here. Okay, if we're looking at our y values, it's a 2 and a 3. There's not an easy number to multiply 2 by to turn it into 3. Obviously there is a number, but we want to be working with whole numbers. It's typically, easier than that, or integers. So I'm going to do the x's. Now, if I just multiply the top by 2, I'm going to get 8 and 8, and those will add to 16. So we don't want that. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 2, because that's going to give us that opposite sign that we want. Okay, so negative 2 times 4 is negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4y. And then negative 2 times negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Okay, once again, we're going to ignore that. And now we're just going to add. So if we add the x's, they cancel. If we add the y's, we get 7y. If we add these, we end up with 14. We just do a little bit of algebra. Divide divided by 7. We end up with y equals 2. Now we found y first, that's okay. We're going to take this and just plug it in to either of the originals, and we get 8x plus 3 times y, which was 2, equals 22. Okay, so now we just multiply. 3 times 2 gives us 6. And then we just do some basic algebra. Subtract 6. And that's going to give us 16 divided by 8. X equals 2. And then make sure, even though we found y first, we always put x first. Well, they're the same in this case. But we put x first, and then we put our y. Okay, so if we graph these on Desmos, they should cross at 2, 2. So let's just verify that that's true. So we have 4x minus 2y equals 4. This one's 22 plus 3y and 8. We look at it, it does cross at 2, 2, so we feel good about it and we got the right answer. If you need additional help, please come to Math Lab. Until then, calculator.